Welcome. Brain Science presents skills every man should know in case of emergency or necessities which could be of help to oneself and others surrounded by him. This skill should be known to both young and old, probably women or girls also can learn them in case of man's absence at home or work. If you've made it far enough in life to be reading this, then you're already aware that you can't simply make it through life by existing. Not so long as you want to squeeze some real value out of the world around you or contribute in any kind of meaningful way. That being said, nobody is an expert on all things even if they act like it. So long as you walk this earth, there is always something to be learned, but rather than fumbling around trying to figure out what's of value and what isn't in regards to educational prospects, you can focus on a few indispensable competencies that we believe every red-blooded male should have in their arsenal. From basic survival, to buying, dressing, and mending clothing, to catching, preparing, and cooking your own food. And everything in between these are the 50 skills that every single man should know. So, man up and get schooled. Try improving your skills, and you will become a better man almost immediately. The following are the skills every man should know. Know how to perform basic first aid is a skill every man should know. This skill could literally save lives, so it's something you should spend some time on. Knowing basic things such as performing CPR, dealing with bleeding or burns and more. Can really be a good skill to have. Apart from perhaps finding water, basic first aid is probably the most important survival skill to have in anyone's repertoire. Now, it's not something you're going to need every day or even every other day, but it can mean certain death if you don't have a grasp on how to clean and dress a wound when you need to. Just remember, knowing first aid also means knowing your limits. If you're not a doctor, you probably shouldn't try to set a broken bone. Because you might end up breaking it more or, in the worst case, sever blood vessels with the broken bone and increase the risk of death tenfold. Learn to sew is another skill a man should know. Knowing how to quickly fix a button that has fallen off, or repair a cut in your favorite jeans is a skill which can take you places. Get that needle and thread working for you, and be the man who can fix his own clothing problems. Another skill is build a shelter. Hopefully you never find yourself in a situation where you need to sleep in the wilderness unexpectedly. But, if you do, you'll probably need to know how to put together a survival shelter. Not only will a simple structure help protect you from the elements, it'll also help ward off and/or keep you safe from wandering animals. Just remember, you're not just pitching a tent, you also need to pay attention to the area you're building in, because riverbeds, watering holes, and migration trails can all increase the area's danger. Change a tire is also a skill a man should know. Statistically speaking, you're going to end up with at least one flat tire in your lifetime if you drive a car daily. It's pretty much an inevitability. That's why many motor vehicles include a spare tire in the trunk or mounted to the back. In the case that you do get a flat, you should know how to swap out the flat for the spare. It'll save you time waiting for someone else to come and help you, that is, if there's anyone coming at all. You see, if you get a flat out in the middle of nowhere, you'll probably be on your own. And you don't want to have to walk the rest of the way, do you? Change your oil is another skill, obviously not as pressing as changing a tire. Changing your oil is arguably more important. You can get a new tire for relatively cheap if you get a flat. If you don't regularly change your oil, your entire engine might break and it will be way more expensive to change. Pro tip: learning to change your own oil, while a bit more time-consuming, is far cheaper than having a shop do it. Sure, you might not want to do it yourself all the time, but you can save some scratch and learn something valuable in the process if you take the time to do it yourself. Another skill is make her a drink. We all know how to pour a glass of wine or a beer the correct way. That's pretty basic, but we can take it even further and learn to really make some amazing drinks. Being able to be a proper host to your friends, and of course your special other half, is a key skill to master. Now not all women will simply just want a glass of red or white wine. So if you have the ability to whip up some fancy cocktails, then you are already ahead of the rest. Learn how to fix things around the house is also a skill a man should know, whether you are a house owner Or rent a pad for yourself and your mates. Things always break. Now of course it's easy to just call a guy every time something needs fixing, but wouldn't it be great if you could just fix every little issue yourself? Not only will it save you a bit of time and money, it will also give you some much deserved man points. Cook on a barbecue is also a skill. Every man should have mastered grilling on either an open fire, or on a charcoal or gas grill at some point in his life. Preferably before the age of 30. This skill can come in handy when you are camping with friends, or throwing a dinner party at home. Nothing quite beats the smell of food cooking on a grill. Another skill is grow a garden. Knowing how to build and sustain your very own garden is quite a primitive skill which goes back to the dawn of mankind's existence. There's no better feeling than being able to create a garden and eat the produce which your plants have produced. And on top of that, gardening is a very relaxing hobby to have. And can definitely help with a bit of stress relief. Learn to cook a really good meal is also one of them. No, you don't need to be Gordon Ramsay or Jamie Oliver in the kitchen, but you should be able to put together a meal that isn't made up of just bread, ham and cheese. Cooking is a skill which can bring a lot of happiness into your life, and that of the ones who eat your food. Hopefully, a man should be able to cook a meal for his girlfriend, family and friends, especially now in 2019 where men and women are expected to be able to do pretty much the same things. So if you aren't a great cook just yet, then don't stress. You can practice, get good at it and show off your skills. Start off by getting yourself a decent cookbook, and then head to the kitchen. Another skill is clean up after yourself. Yes, it was quite a cool thing to be a messy dude back in the day in your late teens or early 20s, but as you grow into an adult man, you need to begin to take care of yourself and your surroundings. There's nothing worse than walking into a guy's home, only to find it's full of muck and dirty dishes. Know how to cook a steak is also skill to know. There's nothing worse than an overcooked piece of meat, especially if it's a high-quality beef steak. You can easily tell whether a steak is rare, medium rare or well done by following a simple trick. Set up a campsite is also among. Nothing screams, I am man, more than being able to go out into the wild. Set up camp, and make a fire that'll keep you and your friends warm, act as a place to cook food, and scare off any dangerous creatures. If you want to earn points among your friends or with your other half, then you really need to go camping to show them how it's done. And the last is basic carpentry. Carpentry is one of humanity's oldest skills. In fact, it's one of the reasons civilization even exists as we know it. And it has survived thousands of years to still be in use today. Now, we're not suggesting that every man should be able to build a house from the ground up, but some general practices are definitely worth stashing away in your bank of skills. For example, knowing how to saw wood and use power tools, soundly nail or screw furniture together, and build something, even as basic as a single shelf, can come in handy if you ever want to be creative or helpful around the house. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you subscribed, like, comment and share for more videos.